AI agents connecting to your SaaS app. It's a massive growth opportunity you can't miss. But there's a problem. You've built a product for human users, and AI doesn't always act human. But don't stress. Fronteg makes it easy and safe to open up your product to custom agents and Gen AI platforms like Gemini and ChatGPT. First, connect. Just add your API spec and choose which tools you want to expose to agents. Fronteg will create a hosted MCP server for you. Drop your new MCP URL into a Gen AI platform. Look at that! You're listed. Now a user can interact with your product using the AI interfaces they already love. Next, you need enterprise-grade security. For example, to pay invoices in a billing app, you might want a lower limit for agents. Use Fronteg to set fine-grained guardrails. When the limit is hit, Fronteg can ask for additional authentication or invite a human into the loop for approval. Finally, observe the impact. Track how many customers are using your AI tools and how often activities were blocked or flagged. It shows that your policies matter. Fronteg gives you the fastest way to join the AI revolution. Enterprise grade, no code, and the agentic interface your users already love. With Fronteg, your SaaS product is ready for AI. So open it up.
Okay, welcome everybody. Always fun to see this video at the beginning of the week. I want to start by taking it maybe to a higher level for a second, because we talk a lot about democratization of AI, and that's a topic that we keep seeing on our LinkedIn accounts and everywhere in the news, that basically AI needs to be accessible to everybody, not just to a few power users. And I think that we're kind of on the way there. But there's another big part that I think that still doesn't get talked about enough, and that's the democratization of data. Because at the end of the day, AI without your data is kind of useless. And, generic AI, what we see a lot today, is fine for very generic answers, but the real value happens when AI understands your context, when it understands your emails, your calendar, your tasks, your habits, your life, when you can basically use it on your day-to-day. And, we're talking a lot about enterprise because Fronteg has built an enterprise-grade readiness product, right? We help companies to become enterprise-ready for the last 6 years. But I think that as consumers, right, as parents, as people that want to be healthy, want to have a great day-to-day work-life balance, and that, and employees as well, we basically want the same thing. We want full access to our own data, but in a secure and controlled way. And I think that this is becoming a big topic. So when we released AgentLink 2 months ago, we got a lot of great feedback, but then consumers started to ask, okay, but can I do that? Can I connect to my own applications? Can I connect to my gym app, or can I connect to my music application? When you go out there and you search for connectors, a way to connect from ChatGPT, for example, or Claude to my, Spotify or Instacart or Walmart application, you would see a lot of kind of conversations about that. You would see even some solutions that people have built, but can you really trust those, right? Because at the end of the day, any connector that you would add to your ChatGPT, for example, will get full access to your personal data. So I think that there's a lot of trust issues right now with everything that is concerning my personal data and the AI platforms. That happens in our enterprise corporate life, but also happens definitely in our work, in our consumer personal life. So we went and actually built something for this. And this is why we're here today, basically. And for that, I want to welcome Aviad, my co-founder, to join me into this conversation. coming straight from our new office in
Yeah,
Ramat Gan, Israel. Aviad, how is it there?
yeah, it's pretty nice, cozy. We're still organizing some stuff, but yeah, we had great lunch today, and people are super excited. Obviously, we had a very welcoming house, welcoming gift for everyone. But it was super exciting to see everyone. We've been off for a week, setting up the new office, but yeah, super
Amazing.
excited to go
So,
back.
when you're everybody, I'm telling everybody when they're visiting, either if it's Mountain View or the other side of the world in Israel, welcome to jump for a coffee.
Totally.
Great views here and great views over there. Maybe you'll show us at the end of this live stream. So, Aviad, I know that you're kind of like an evangelist of using AI into your day-to-day life, and also
Mhm.
I think that you're great example for having a very interesting work-life balance. You work, 24/7. You're always there. You're a founder of a startup, but you also like food. You like to automate things, right? Make them comfortable. You go to the gym. Um, and commute is a big thing, right? Kind of understanding what's the fastest way to get to places. So tell me, when you kind of realize that it's important to handle not only the work applications and the secure access to work applications from AI, but also to your personal apps.
Yeah, so I live like an hour to an hour and a half, depending on traffic and on trains, away from the office. So I commute like, 3 hours a day, 1 hour and a half, on the way and 1.5 on the way back. And obviously, up until 1 year ago, 2 years ago, it was all about work and, coding and now when I try to automate few things throughout the way, and especially when I'm driving, I found that especially when talking about ChatGPT voice commands, is a real life changer for me, because for 60 to 90 minutes I'm able to just talk with ChatGPT, getting answer, brainstorm about ideas that I'm gonna pitch to my product manager, I'm gonna pitch to my engineering, you know, and it just ongoing conversation. Where I got stuck all the time, where it's hard for me to rely on my memory. For example, I'm brainstorming about an idea, and now I wanna create an artifact of it. I wanna send it to Notion. I wanna send, Tomer, our team lead, a Slack notification about an idea that I have. I cannot type while I'm driving, you know. So it's either that I have to pull out to a gas station or something like that, which I do obviously.
Yep.
Um, or a most efficient way would be just to go and to ask ChatGPT to do that. And that was the part that was always missing for me. I was, these models are so powerful, and I was always able to get so much data out of it, and brainstorm and enrich my knowledge, and brainstorm around ideas and brainstorm around good practices. But when it comes to really do stuff, this is where it got really complex for me. And as you mentioned, we were brainstorming about it a lot of times, and said, this is what is really missing out for me. This should improve my day to day. And if I'm not that special, if it improves my day to day, it's probably going to improve a day to day operations for a lot of persons out there.
Yeah, so I really relate to that. I think that I spend a lot of time to kind of automate things. I even did some posts about it recently that got a lot of attention, and I think that in the US, for example, I'm noticing that it's very important to keep things, very tight. For example, on your payments, right? The access to insurance and to make sure that you renew everything on time. So I think that the access to that kind of data, to your health data, is super, super important as well. So I think that the mix between the really important things and kind of the fun stuff, and AI that can have access to all of that and really help us to balance out everything. I think it's a lot about this balance and being focused on the important things. So, without further ado, I would like to maybe show a bit. We always say that we hate a lot of presentations, right? But maybe show just this one slide that is important. We've been protecting all fronts for the last 6 years, web, mobile, APIs, you name it. Recently, a lot of agentic around enterprises, so companies that are trying to open up their products to agents. And I think that it all relates to the fact that the old way of logging into applications, doing everything with point and click, is kind of becoming something that people just want to avoid if they can. And the new way is just getting into your chat interface, whatever it is, and just doing everything, right. And it's not only about asking questions, it's about making actions, and actually performing stuff. And this is the new way of doing things. I think it's not a question anymore. You do it on your during your work hours, and you're doing that for your personal stuff. It's just the new way to do things. And we've built with AgentLink the one control layer for any agentic interaction, right? And when we're thinking about it on the enterprise readiness part for companies that want to open up their products, we're thinking about product insights, and we're thinking about data governance, and we're thinking about entitlements and these super permissions and security logs and all of that, and that's super important. But then we got a lot of questions from consumers. Okay, but what if I just want to connect to to my Instacart, to my Spotify, to my gym application, to my Strava, whatever, and just create some stuff that would just help me during my day to day. And this is where we went out, and today we're announcing the release of AgentLink for consumers, a vetted MCP connector marketplace. Obviously, MCP today is super trendy, so we went for MCPs, but it can connect to any type of interface. And here we're talking about four main things. So the first thing, a single connector. So you guys made an amazing job in creating this smooth experience when you add one connector and you get unlimited integrations. And it doesn't matter if the first connection that you need is to your work application, because your bosses asked you to build some AI native automation over your Slack, right, with some HubSpot data, and you just need those two connections. But then you want to connect, as I mentioned, to your Instacart to order something for the evening dinner, right? So it doesn't matter when you need it. It's already connected to your ChatGPT, to Claude, to Gemini, whatever it is you're using as your AI platform, and you can just enable more and more integrations, which is amazing. The second thing is, you're in control. So it's just-in-time consent for any data that you need, right? It's consent-based. You would approve any type of scope, any type of data connectivity within your native AI platform that you use. Super convenient. We will see that in a minute. Third thing, we were talking about guardrails, data control is something that only concerns enterprises. But me, if I think about access to my data, I would want to make sure that I have full control over where this data travels, right? At the end of the day, it has my health data, my bank accounts, anything, right? And very sensitive things for me. So I would want to get some of those kind of enterprisey, corporate controls. And we've made sure that consumers wouldn't be left behind, and they can still control everything. So you get the guardrails as well. And the fourth thing, for us, it was super important, the democratization that we're talking about, to really stand behind it. And it's free forever. So basically, you don't need to pay for it. How does that work? Okay, so, it's a simple diagram. On the left side, you have the consumers that want to connect to their applications through Gemini, through ChatGPT, through Claude, through Grok, whatever, Microsoft Copilot, right? They want to connect to it and just use it in a chat-based manner. But also maybe they want to build some kind of no-code agentic activities. It's super easy today, right? Like there's a bunch of these no-code tools where you can just tell it, build an application for me that does that, and that, and it builds it out. So that also needs data. And on the right side, you have the favorite application, the Gmail, the Uber. If I want to order an automatic Uber, or I want to access, my running application, Strava, or I want to order something on Airbnb or Booking.com or anything like that. So at the middle, we have Fronteg today with the announcement of AgentLink for consumers, a single vetted marketplace of connectors for any type of usage, where you can just pick your application. There's a guide on how to connect it. We'll see that in a second, to your favorite chat application. And that's it. You're connected to all of your personal data on your AI platform. So sounds amazing, right? And everything that is consumer based is always kind of gives me the chills, because let's face it, it's less boring than the enterprise stuff, right? It's we can use that at home. I can brag about it with my friends and even my mother. So that's fun. Aviad, I want to see it. So show us how it works, and I'm giving the control to you.
Okay. Thank you, Sagi. So, starting with the agent link for consumers is super easy. You start from obviously the front-end website, right? Products, MCP Marketplace. We have over 200 of MCP connectors, thousands of tools, different tools. Let's say that I want to start with my Gmail connector. When I'm driving, I want to be able to read emails and respond to emails, while I'm driving, without obviously typing. So instructions, Cloud Desktop, Cloud CLI, ChatGPT, obviously, Cursor, and hyperlink with Cursor. We're going to start with Cloud Desktop. So I'm following the instructions, just copying the MCP URL, go into the connectors. Let's call it Marketplace, and paste in the MCP Marketplace URL. All I have to do from that moment on is just connect. I'm going to be prompted for a first authentication just for the MCP to identify. I'm going to log in with Google, and I'm good to go. So, one of the things that we introduced over here, because as you've seen, there are tons of connectors and tools, etc. So we try to save memory. So we kind of limited the context of tools into a search tool and call tool. I'll talk about it in a second and we'll see how it works. But that's really one of the secret sauces of being able to serve so many integrations using just two tools. So let's open a new chat and ask, our Claude agent to show my unread emails. That's something that I would do right when I'm driving, asking, what is pending for me on my inbox. So what happens now is that Claude just identified that it had a search tool, okay, and the query that it said get unread emails and Gmail messages. Now, you may notice that I'm still didn't provide a consent to Gmail to access my emails, right? This is what we talked about a second ago, right? You are going to a gradual consent. You are not providing consent to all of the tools. when you need a tool and you need the consent, this is where it happens. I'm going to authorize Gmail now. As easy as opening up, clicking, providing, the connector a permission to view my email messages and send emails on my behalf. And we're good to go. I'm going back to the chat. Once I'm authorized, let me know, and I'm done. So what should happen now is that Claude agent going to try again to call the tool now with the matching authorization. What happens behind the scene is that the agent link actually serves as a token vault for all, different connectors and different third-party services. And when a request is made, the AgentLink backend makes sure that, the call is being propagated safely from the AgentLink backend to the third-party connector. So the token doesn't actually go, to the agent. It all being safely stored on the AgentLink backend. So I have two unread emails again. I have, Karen asking me to review my house plan. So, that we are building now a new plan. And we have Raz, our head of engineering, that building a product usage dashboard and asking to send the latest usage stats.
If I were you, I would handle the first one first.
You read my mind. Yeah, obviously, I'm gonna do the first one. So I'm gonna reply to Karen on it. Okay, and set a reminder for Friday morning to make sure I actually did. I don't want her to kill me, right? So you read my mind. Karen is obviously,
top priority.
Top priority. I don't want to sleep on the couch this night. So I'm gonna write to her on it, and I'm gonna ask Claude again. Day-to-day operations. I could do this from my car, right? I don't need to type it. So what happens behind the scene is now, Claude is actually running the tool to type Karen back on it. No, I didn't have to type. Assume that I'm on my car. And now the next thing that's going to happen is that Claude is going to try to create a calendar event. What do you think going to happen next, Sagi?
So hopefully it will find it. And this is the question that I was going to ask. So basically, it added only 2 tools. And from, kind of early day MCP conversations, we know that a bunch of tools are being added, and there were a lot of conversations about limitation of
context,
tools.
Correct.
And so how is this magic happening? Like, how does it know to use
So let's take a look at that. Let's break it down. So there are 2 use cases here. One use case is to send a Gmail reply, and the other use case is to create a calendar reminder, right? So Claude is able to find the relevant tools, okay? First, it's gonna call, the tool to send message through Gmail. It already had a consent, so the message was sent. I'm gonna go to my email, and this is the on it, sent to Karen 1 minute ago. And the next one is obviously to create a Google Calendar. Now, remember, I only consented to a Gmail access. I didn't consent to a calendar access. So in order to do that, I'm going to authorize my Google Calendar. Go in again to the same.
And that's the just-in-time authorization.
That's the just-in-time authorization consent, correct. Success, we are connected. Okay, I'll go to my calendar on Friday. And we should see it in a second. Oh, yeah. The consent is done, but I didn't say done.
So basically, it keeps the context on what it's supposed to do once you're authorized, and then it will try to perform this action once it actually has the permissions, right?
Correct. So now when the authorization has been completed, okay, the call tool has been invoked again, and the event is over here. Follow up, did you review house plans? Okay. Okay,
You
so
basically
we are
build
done.
a small mini assistant that
Correct,
has
correct.
connection to two of your most important things, which is the emails and the calendar. And this is just two approvals, and you already can do a lot of amazing things.
Totally. So now we are good, with my wife, but I still have my head of engineering, which, was pending another email, right? So going back to Claude, we remembered that Raz asked for user statistics. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna ask Tomer, our team lead, we're gonna send a Slack message to Tomer to review Raz's request and handle it first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, again, consent as we go. I ask now, to send a Slack message. Obviously, I'm communicating, with the engineers in the preferred way of communication, which is Slack. So I send, I'm trying to send a Slack message to Tomer. Search tool, send Slack message. We obviously need to authorize Slack. Again, authorize on demand, opening the link. I'm gonna choose the workspace that I'm approving the agent AI to call. And we are done. So now Claude, using the same consent, gonna invoke the tool again, okay? And now it's invoking Slack. Okay, again, we are adding tools as we go. It found Tomer, the user ID, okay? Opening a DMs message, okay? And now the call tool has been invoked. I'm gonna open Tomer. And this is now, hey Tomer, Raz is building a product user dashboard and needs the agent link user stats. Can you review the request and do it first thing in the morning? So now we included another communication method now with the engineers, right? Reading an email, adding a calendar event, responding to an email, and opening a Slack message. However, that might not be enough. You know why, Sagi?
Because Raz is not doing code anymore so much, right? Like he has a lot of
Yeah,
managing activities.
yeah, and there is only one way to measure engineers and team leads, and that's Jira. So if Tomer misses on the Slack message, I'm gonna create a Jira task for him. So let's create a Jira task for Tomer. Okay, for tomorrow morning to make sure he followed up with Raz. Again, this same command I could have used, okay, while just reading out loud prompt while doing the voice command on my phone, okay? So think about the capabilities it provides you just driving or on the train, right? I'm gonna authorize Jira now. So again, create Jira issue, that's the call, that's the use case, okay? And AgentLink understood what is the tool that is required over here. It authorized the Jira. Okay, we are now providing access to our Jira account. We are connected, going back. And now what should happen is that we're gonna assign a task for tomorrow morning for Tomer to make sure that he followed up with Raz.
So that's another application, another tool.
Yeah.
That's
And just for us to understand, okay, in order to accomplish that with bunch of MCPs, okay, you would have to go to the connectors each and every time again and to add more and more and more MCP servers, okay, and to enlarge the context of this conversation where it actually becomes not feasible for Claude to handle. Okay, so here what happened, Claude understood what I'm aiming for, called the tool, okay, and created a Jira task assigned to Tomer by me, due for tomorrow, okay, to follow up with Raz on the AgentLink user status list. So when Tomer gets to the office tomorrow morning, this is what he's going to say.
Incredible. Closing the loop for everything. And, we kind of saw that we're starting from something that is your personal stuff, and you kind of floated very naturally into your work life, things. And I think that, this is the story, right? Because the boundaries, basically, they do not exist anymore, right? Like you're always working, you're always at home, you're always kind of juggling and combining everything. And this is the way to kind of open up connections to everything that you need. A quick question. So, you did access Jira and some, important work stuff. So let's say that your CISO now wants control over this, right? Because you used it for your work stuff. How easy is the transition, to for the CISO to have some control over these connections?
So super easy. So first, the CISO, can control. We are happily able to migrate to a workforce account. Okay, so on the workforce account, the CISO can define guardrails and policies and conditional policies of what integrations are allowed within the organization and what's not. And even here from the chat prompt, me as an administrator, for my account, I'm able to kind of define what tools, I'm allowing to this interface and what tools. For example, when we just started, I asked, Claude to respond, right, to my wife through my calendar. So if I would wish just to block it, I would ask, to define a policy that doesn't allow any responding or any deletion of emails, just reading of emails. So,
you can just do that from the chat interface?
Do it just from the chat interface,
wow.
Okay? And then, everything that we show here on the MCP Marketplace, right? So we did mention, we run over Google Calendar and Gmail and Slack and Jira, but as you can imagine, there are bunch of endless connectors that we built into the system, and each connector has its own tools. Okay, so you can define and kind of piggyback what do you want to choose. Okay, I'm going back to Gmail. These are the capabilities in Gmail. You want to be able to define that you allow just get messages and none of the other tools, and you will be able to define the policies around that.
Aviad, maybe one last question for me before we turn to the audience. I mentioned, and I get that a lot, this trust issue that is happening right now, because, if you go out there and the response that I got, from some folks, yeah, but there's like a bunch of these marketplaces out there, right? A lot of open source. So somebody went and built a connector for, Microsoft Teams or Monday.com, right? So did the team, took these open source connectors and just put them inside this marketplace, or you actually went and developed this on your own?
So no, we didn't take any open source because we wanna take accountability for our code. So we had a lot of integrations from Frontend AI kind of deployment, where we own the code, we own the security of the code. We are able to kind of determine that there is no MCP poisoning and tool poisoning and remote, code execution through tools. So it was super, super, super important for us to kind of own the execution and kind of own the code. And this is why we chose to deploy it that kind. We had, and we still have a great team that is building out and maintaining this integration, which is, by the way, another very good reason to use a cloud version of a consumer MCP, because we keep chasing about change of APIs and change of everything that happens throughout the OAuth protocol or the OAuth flow, and we keep refreshing the tools. For example, if you go back to this Gmail integration in 2 weeks, okay, and you make a request, that access token might be revoked, but we are responsible to refresh it behind the scenes safely.
Nice. And I think that this is the beauty about it. So basically, you're getting, at your home for your personal stuff without paying anything. That's free forever. Let's remind, you're getting, the security level and the access management level and the trust level from a company that is used for, the last 6 years as the critical infrastructure of identity, of user management, by companies like Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, NVIDIA, and Samsung, Siemens, a lot of others. So you're kind of getting this enterprise-grade trust at your home for any usage that you need, which I think is an amazing offering. And this is democratization. This is giving people what they really need. Amazing stuff. Let's turn to some questions from home if we have them. Okay, so we have a first question here. If I connect my work Jira to Frontend AgentLink, where are the auth tokens actually stored? Talk to us a bit about this vault thing.
So I kind of mentioned it throughout the call. So we are safely storing. So we have a very safe key vault on our backend. So tokens will never go to the client side. They are safely stored on our backend. All of the the AI interface just asks us to invoke the tool. We are invoking it from our backend, where we propagate a safe short-lived access token and invoking the relevant tool.
Awesome. And I will combine maybe one more question kind of into one. Again, about the pricing, if I want to use it, and do I need to join a waiting list? How do I actually use it?
You just go to frontend.com, okay? Under products, you have a MCP Marketplace. Click on install through your favorite connector, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Amazing job by the Frontend team, as always. An exciting release today that a bit, kind of brings a different angle to what we're used to do, which is releasing products for enterprises. And today we're releasing proudly a product for consumers that everybody can use, free forever. Just connect your applications to your chat interfaces to perform actions, to get data, to sync data between applications, and everything that is related to that. We're living in amazing times, and we're happy to be part of the enablement for this real revolution that is happening. Aviad, I want to thank you. I know that it's pretty late there. Enjoy the last kind of hours today of the new office, and see you on the next release really soon. There's amazing stuff that are coming.
Amazing stuff. Yeah. Stay tight.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.